Hey, Buck. What is it, Steve? So I was wondering, if you could give me any spoilers about what's going to be coming up on your show. Well, I don't really, I don't want to say what happens on the show. I mean, we haven't even aired the first episode yet. Well, you know what I think is going to happen? I think Zemo is going to get a hold of Doctor Doom, and those guys are going to both team up to bring Galactus down here, who will then in turn call a Nihilus, and it'll be all of those guys against you, and then all of a sudden, Wanda is going to come out of nowhere, and she's going to summon her two kids, and then Mephisto shows up, and it's just, I think it's going to be like the biggest thing since Infinity War. Steve, you really, really, really got to find another hobby other than speculating about what's going to happen on my show. Don't you have a life? Don't you have people that you can save? Isn't Hydra running around somewhere? Go do that. Go save some people. Get a kitten out of a tree. Just stop with the speculating. You're not good at it. Have you even read any of your comic books that you're in? Okay. I understand. But Buck, remember, with you to the end, buddy. Okay, I already told you no on the catchphrases. They've been done to death. I know that you live by them, and I get it. It warms my heart. But please, for the love of all that is holy, stop with the catchphrases. They make me uncomfortable. I'm with you to the end. Ah!
Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, dum, ba, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, dum, dun-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, dun, ba. Da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. How is everybody doing out there? This is Rob here at Smirk and Gun Reviews, and I am very happy to finally get to start talking about Disney Plus's new Marvel show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is the one I've been waiting for since they announced it. It's not a big secret. Anybody who follows my channel knows that I'm a huge Captain America fan, the Winter Soldier and Civil War, and the First Avenger. Those three movies are my favorite arcs in the MCU, but not just because of Cap, even though, like other people know, I wasn't a Captain America fan. When I was a kid reading comic books, it took me almost my entire life to realize why Captain America is a good character, and why these characters now have become just as good in my opinion. Falcon and Winter Soldier are exciting characters to talk about. They're in an interesting position on this show after Endgame. What do you do when your symbol is gone, when your friend is gone? Cap was a mentor to Falcon, and he was best friends with Bucky. And now, in the world has lost this symbol that a lot of people looked up to, even during Civil War when Cap went on the lam. So this is a really great series to talk about because WandaVision's great, right? It's fine. It was gimmicky a little bit, with the way that they did it, but it was necessary to do it like that. It's not a diss. Um, but the thing that people automatically start talking about is how can Falcon and the Winter Soldier, stack up against that? And the thing is like it shouldn't have to. They shouldn't be the same thing. They shouldn't have to raise the stakes for the sake of an audience that's fickle. All right, all you need is a good story, good characters, good writing, and you can do it. Sometimes, though, that's not enough for audiences because, WandaVision, so much of it, to me, was carried by the gimmick and the flashiness and the way it was presented. In this, though, it's about the story. It's not about gimmicks. This does feel like the Captain America movie series. Each, of the series has a certain feel. Even Thor, which as, by the third movie does take on a different tone, they all still feel like you're in Thor's world. Same as with Tony's movies. You feel like there's a certain kind of world that is in those. And in this, you got more of the political intrigue, which I really, really liked for Cap's movies. But not just that. The series is about what happens to the people that came back after the blip and the world that after the blip. We had that really great scene in WandaVision where Monica comes back, and that was a really good representation of what that would look like. Now we're dealing with realities that show did not discuss because it couldn't. It was dealing with a very singular thing with Wanda. This is dealing more with the world as a whole and our character's place in it and how the changing world without Steve, after the blip, all these things are affecting them. And as far as first episodes go, this was really, really, really solid. The New World Order is the title of this episode. It's funny how those three words get thrown around a lot in stories. I was just noticing because I'm talking about Walking Dead, and in that on the show right now, they are in the New World Order part of that story. It's a series of words that gets thrown out a lot, and I think it's like every generation kind of has this New World Order, and now with after the blip, you've got a New World Order rising up again, new challenges to face a new world. So, to get into this, I mean, first we have the incredible action sequence in this, okay? Now, there's a little dashes here and there. You've got the Winter Soldier flashback. You got the little bit of an attack later on in the episode. But most of this is talking. And what I noticed, we did a we did a viewing party for Civil War last week when my internet was down, and I noticed one person, and I'm not doing this to pick on them, but it was just a comment that I found interesting, was about how long in between the action sequences there were, and it made me think like that's not what comic books are only. There's like I know my nephew. He loves Marvel movies, but the thing is like he's one of those people who just wants to get to the next action sequence. The story in between is less important. And that's not why comic book readers read comic books. I think a lot of people think that comic book readers are only sitting there reading like, everybody's just punching each other the whole time. That's not why most comic book readers read comic books. It's for what's happening between the action, how to build up to that, the story. And that's what this episode has a lot of, is story and characters talking and conflict and drama building towards what become conflicts and action sequences. And they do it really well. And I thought that's the action sequence that they have at the beginning, which that was an amazing action sequence. It felt like Falcon's version of the Winter Soldier beginning, because yes, we do, and I felt it was a little on the nose to have them fighting Batroc from Winter Soldier, which was great, but also this action sequence was just a ton of fun. Holy crap, they came with everything. They needed to go big, and they really did go big. Wingsuits and all, the way they shot it was fantastic. I was a little wondering, like, how many helicopters did they have ready? It seems like they had an unlimited supply of helicopters to get blown up If the plan was supposed to be just this simple thing, they had like a B plan, a C plan, a D plan, an E plan that all involved other helicopters. Uh, it just seemed kind of a little much, but in the moment, it is fantastic to watch. Sam Wilson's a great character. Anthony Mackie plays him really great. He brings just enough swagger and humility to the character, but in this action sequence, we just want the swagger, we just want the confidence, and he has it here. I mean, even with his own version of the jumping out of the plane, that other characters have gotten to do over the series of MCU stuff, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who everybody I think on that show had a chance to jump out of a back of a plane. But it was a fantastic, fantastic action sequence. I was riveted. In this action sequence, we're also introduced to Danny Torres, who's played by no, it's Joaquin, I think, Torres, played by Danny Ramirez, who's kind of is going to be the human liaison, kind of the soldier character that helps Sam along. You have to have bits of side characters to fill this world out. You can't just have Sam and Bucky running around. So he's an interesting character who's kind of keeping track of threats that are going on around the world. And I like this character a lot. I can tell he's gonna play kind of a big role. He might even be like the character that, he feels like a red shirt a little bit, that somebody who will die. Maybe not. I'm just saying. Right now, my guess would be if somebody is gonna get off in this show to maybe help the characters find where they need to go, kind of like Phil Coulson in Avengers, it would be him, because they're really building him up as the guy who wants to help, the guy who's right there in the middle of the action, even though he's just a guy. And he talks about Captain America a lot, so you can feel like he's got that kind of ideology in him, wanting to do what's right, even if he doesn't have powers. Which that's a big target on his back, if you ask me, because of the thing that's going on with Sam in this was at the end of Endgame, Steve gives him the shield, and it was great because one of the really good books lately was Rick Remender's All New Captain America, where Sam takes the helm of Captain America, and actually should have I've got those coming. So if anybody wonders why I don't have any Falcon stuff, it's just because I haven't gotten around to it. But Sam feels like, even though here's the thing, Sam's cocky. So, but he's not cocky so much to the point where he thinks he can take Cap's place. And I feel like he's a little low on himself here, because he takes that shield and he puts it in the Smithsonian, and I was going, oh no. Feeling like he can't take that place or want to take that place, wanting to stand on his own. There's this huge shadow, of course, that Cap casts. And that's going to be the journey for not just Falcon, but Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. What do you do when your symbol's gone? Because, like I said, Falcon was Cap's, mentor, or Cap was Falcon's mentor, and Bucky was his best friend who, now Cap's gone. We'll get to Bucky's stuff in just a second, but you can tell right away that this is going to be a big mistake. And I especially wanted to pay attention to the part where they're like, when he gives the shield to the Smithsonian, and the guy's like, you did the right thing. This thing is supposed to be in a museum, and it shouldn't be in a museum, because we have Rhodey here, played by Don Cheadle, who's back, which was a nice little cameo, talking to them about why did he do it, like, why are you giving this up? He says that we need symbols, but I feel like Sam doesn't think he can be that way, that symbol. And it's not just because of taking Cap's place. I think it's also saying, would this world accept me as Captain America? Almost like he knows the world's politics, right? Would they accept an African American Captain America? And that's a problem that the character faced in the comics. Because realistically, if some guy just suddenly showed up, like let's say in our world there was a Captain America, and suddenly he became, a minority, how many people would freak out? That's a true thing that would happen. You try to switch characters, races in movies, and people flip out. Sometimes they flip out just because it's continuity. Like, oh, he's not black in the comics, or he's not Asian in the comics, so why is he Asian now? It. Some people claim that, throw that out there and say that they're not being racist. There's a very thin line between that and whoa, yeah. Um, so also you got Sam's financial problems with his family, and after the blip they talk about how all these people came back, and it's been 5 years. The world had a little bit of time to get used to it, and now they're suddenly back, just as people were starting to get, back to normal, or maybe making a new normal. And so when they go to make a bank loan, Sam's fame as a hero isn't enough to get a bank loan. And while the bank manager, whoever was, there to make the loan, was, trying to, like, oh, can I get a selfie and stuff, he didn't seem like he was purposely trying to not give them money. He had a point about, like, how do superheroes make money? I gotta sneeze. Where does the money come from? You have no finances, there's nothing coming in, and they don't get the loan. And I thought that was an interesting part of the story, was not just, you're black, you don't get the loan. It was also a pretty relevant thing to say, or not relevant, but pretty interesting question to ask about heroes' finances, because it does sound like a lot of it dealt with contributions. Now with Tony, when Tony was alive, I'm sure that a lot of people were taken care of that way, but now there is no Tony. Now there is Pepper. Maybe she could be doing something with that money for the guys. I don't know, but as far as Sam goes, we're gonna pause his story and get over to Bucky. Now, Bucky, on the other hand, here has got a whole other set of problems. Like I said, the guy who fought for him his whole life, once he came out of the ice and found out he was alive, Steve did everything to get his friend back, not just physically, but mentally. He, knowing that he was under the control of Hydra and other people who were controlling him, and the sacrifices that he made to bring his friend back, and then to just lose, Cap. After all of that, at the end of Endgame, Cap is gone. Now, they haven't said he's dead, but he's not around anymore. His friend is gone. And I kind of find it like that they must be alluding to the fact that he died, and maybe we'll get a flashback to that, or maybe just Cap dipped. Maybe Cap just dipped and he's in a cabin somewhere, or maybe he is on the moon. Who knows? But he's now all alone. The guy who was, supposed to be there till the end, this 106-year-old man who has nothing but nightmares of killing people, which that Winter Soldier flashback was freaking awesome. That was really great and scary. It shows how scary the guy, was, and how he's got that still in his mind, all the things that he did. And that flashback where he kills somebody for witnessing what he did, and how that plays into the shrink scene that happens, where you see him making amends his way, going after the people that he helped while he was under Hydra control, including this person he made a senator, which I thought was really great. Going still after the people that were hidden, that slipped through the cracks, and Hydra fell, both in Captain America, Winter Soldier, and on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That he's still taking out crossing names off a list, but he has to do it like the proper way. He can't kill anybody. He's got rules. They've given him rules for his pardon. But the haunting images of that he can't get rid of, and they talk about, you know, how he needs friends, and he's befriended the father of the man that from that flashback that he killed, which was really like, oh my gosh, the kind of guilt that you have to be carrying. uh, you know, soldiers kill all the time, but they don't become friends with the victim's family. And it's just a tremendous amount that Bucky doesn't just, you know, do what some soldiers do. And I liked the whole date scene, you know, like how do you have a date with somebody when you're 106? You know, they're talking about bingo and pinochle like it was just yesterday. You know, people don't, that's not normal on, you know, today's dates. Unless you're an older person having a date, then pinochle and bingo is probably, you know, right up there. Um, so we're kind of, the story's building at where the characters are at, what they're doing right now, so that eventually, you know, they're gonna meet. They didn't meet once in this episode, which was a little surprising. We know that he's been, you know, that Bucky's been dodging Sam's phone calls, but you know that that's going to change really quickly. And we also didn't see Emily Van Camp's Agent 13, which I'm really excited to see back too. Another thing I noticed and I was thinking about was, I gotta blow my nose. I'm recording this at 7:05 in the morning, and you know, you ever have that like where you just need to blow your nose once in the morning and then you're good? That's what I just had. But what I was thinking about was that now that Stan Lee has died, there's no more Stan Lee cameos. And I thought that this is something I think they need to rectify just to like kind of keep the tradition going, is put him in there. And I'm not saying digitally put him in. Show a picture that has Stan put on there. You know, I don't know, in some fake ad or whatever. I think that they should continue to try to do it just to, I don't know, nostalgia. Um, Another thing, and I'm trying to cover everything I wrote down that was important here. No Stan Lee cameos. Those comics are talking, not action. So we get to the scene with the group that Torres is following, and I thought that this was interesting too. They're all wearing masks to cover up, to make a big distraction. These guys are big, they're strong. Winter Soldier strong. Could they still be remnants of the Winter Soldier program? When Zemo in Civil War went to that facility, uh, he was captured. But what else did he know there? What else is he starting? Did he find a way to get his hands on some of the serum that the Winter Soldier took? Or maybe there's more guys out there that he found or whatever. And we also got to find out how he got away from Wakanda. But the last bit of this is the betrayal at the end. And this was a betrayal. This was a straight up betrayal, because Sam finds out that even though he handed the shield over to the Smithsonian and to the guy who told him he did the right thing, he has to see live on television that the government has decided to create a new symbol of hope, and a new Captain America comes out. And I was like, I just didn't expect this part of the story. This is why I don't like to speculate too often, especially on things that I, you know, haven't even started. I didn't even factor in that this character might show up. This is going to be amazing. So we are introduced, and they don't say it by name, but Wyatt Russell, who's in this, and I'm a big Wyatt Russell fan. I love the movie Overlord. I liked that show he had on AMC, Lodge 49, I think it was called. I really like Wyatt Russell, but in this, he's playing John Walker. And if you don't know who John Walker is, he is the guy who, in the comics, is U.S. Agent, a Captain America-esque character. And I saw him with the helmet on, and he looked a little weird. He looked a little bit off. He almost kind of looked like an old man wearing the helmet. But this is John Walker. a guy who came in, and he's not Cap. Let me just tell you right now, U.S. Agent is not Cap. He's more like like if you know like Green Lanterns, right? There's Hal Jordan, and then there's Guy Gardner. I would say that U.S. Agent is more like a Guy Gardner than standard Steve Rogers, but the betrayal that this is, that he gave it up to them and they said you made the right decision, and then they just put another white guy in it, and now Sam is going to be regretting that for the rest of the series. And I was thinking that this show was going to deal with he becomes Captain America right away, and them having to deal with like how hard would it be for the world to accept an African American Captain America. And now it's just about, holy crap, they replaced me. That betrayal that he must feel from the government, that they didn't even consider him. Like, what would have happened if he had tried to be Captain America? So that's going to be something that the rest of the show probably covers. And now Sam's really going to need Bucky. And the world's going to need the two of them, because I'm not sure in what direction they're going to go with John Walker. But with the actor Wyatt Russell in that part, which, again, so happy to see this guy in the MCU. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing ride. I also want to bring up, how diverse this cast was without feeling like that they were forcing it. This felt right. I really like how diverse this cast is. We need more diversity in these shows. Not every face needs to be a white guy, especially in a show that's talking about the shadow of Captain America. You know, we need to see how all kinds of people are affected by the blip and the story that we're going, we're getting here. So anyway, that's this review for this episode. Really happy to talk about it. Every time I start a new series, I have a little bit of, kind of a problem getting the wheels out from under me. So if this feels a little off, by the time we get to like 2 or 3, we should have everything really. Wow, see what I'm talking about? It should be a lot easier to make these videos, even if I do know a lot about the characters. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, this is Robin. We'll see you next week for more Falcon and the Winter Soldier.